In order to develop the flavour and tenderness of the meat, the carcass has been hung for just over a month. Now I'm going to use the shin of this lovely animal to make a winter warming stew for our pumpkin and chilli night. This is the piece of meat and bone from immediately above the knee. It looks a little bit scrappy at the moment, but the real character of the meat is going to be revealed as I slice it into cross sections. Shin is really quite unique in its structure. Look at these sinews binding these really tight bits of muscle together. Now, you might think that when it comes to cooking, sinew is a bit of a dirty word, but to me it's anything but. It doesn't mean gristle, it means flavour. These sinews are actually a web of proteins called collagen, and that's really good for cooking. There's plenty of gelatin and natural beefy flavour in there. And when I cook this shin long and slow, all that fantastic flavour and body is going to come oozing out. The ritual of browning meat before it goes into a stew is really important. What it does is slightly burn the edges of the meat and caramelise the natural sugars in the meat. And those lovely flavours will all ooze out into your stew, which is exactly where you want them. That colour right there, that equals flavour. I'm going to try and pack the meat into the pot really tight so that we don't need too much liquid to cover it. And that'll really help concentrate the flavour as well. For the sauce, the stars of the show are fresh ginger root and some lovely ripe red chilies. This time, Hungarian hot wax and cayenne. I want both the ginger and the chili to be actually visible in the stew, but I don't want too many of those seeds going in or it's going to be too frighteningly hot. This is classic hot, sweet and sour. Heat from the finely sliced chili, ginger and garlic. Sweet from a tablespoon of red currant jelly. And the main cooking liquid, half a litre of apple juice. Sour from 100 ml of cider vinegar. And the same amount of soy sauce gives a good salty kick to the cooking liquor. Heat until bubbling, then pour the spicy liquid over the beef and top up with just enough water to almost cover the meat. You know, that juice is already delicious, but it's as nothing compared to what it's going to taste like 3.5 hours from now, when a long slow simmer has extracted all that lovely beefy flavour and mingled everything together. It's a dish that can't be hurried, but it'll definitely set pulses racing. Serve it up with rice noodles and steamed chard or spinach. And this meat should now be so tender that I can literally cut it with my chopsticks. Look at that. And the meat that a few hours ago was so sinewy and tough is now tender, melting, yielding. It's got a warm glow from the chili, the ginger and the garlic. And all that together makes this, for me, one of the loveliest dishes for a chilly winter day. Coming up, it's pissing down, but not even wet and windy weather can take the heat out of our party. Blimey! The tip of my tongue is on fire. Okay, it's on fire. It's only a couple of hours before our pumpkin and chili night gets underway. Our plan was to welcome in the winter by putting some fiery food in our bellies. But right now the flames of our passion are threatened by a blanket of wind and rain. River Cottage is beginning to live up to its name a bit too literally for comfort. But with 200 guests coming, the show must go on. I want to make a lovely pud for our pumpkin and chili night, so I might put the chilies on hold and go all out for the finest pumpkin pie. And what I've got here is the perfect pie pumpkin, a little beauty called small sugar. And the reason it's so good for pies is because of its lovely, creamy, sweet flesh. What a beauty. I need to cook these pumpkins until the flesh is tender enough to mash. And the best way to do that is to bake them in the oven with a knob of butter and some soft brown sugar. A little splash of water on the base of the roasting tray will get a little bit of steam going. They'll bake in a medium hot oven for 45 minutes to an hour. That smells gorgeous. When you bake pumpkins like this, you're reminded that this is in fact a fruit, a very close relation of the melon. Pumpkin pie can be a bit too sweet for me, so I like to mix in a couple of Bramley apples for a tart edge. There's a little bit of magic about the way Bramleys break down like that, and all they need is a bit of gentle encouragement from a wooden spoon. Mix the creamy pumpkin and the sharp apple puree. And then in a separate bowl, 5 egg yolks, 100 ml of double cream and 50 grams of soft brown sugar are all whisked together. The neat thing about this recipe is that there's just enough starch in the pumpkin to bind together with the cream and the eggs and make for a really nice moussey texture which doesn't come apart or separate when it's baked. That's the filling sorted, but these egg whites are not going to go to waste because this isn't just a pumpkin pie, it's a pumpkin meringue pie. And in goes the sugar, just a little at a time. And never forget the time-honoured test for making sure that your meringue is behaving as it should. Perfect. The pumpkin mixture goes straight into a blind-baked pastry case and the meringue is piled on top. Make sure we've got some nice waves and peaks to pick up a bit of colour in the oven. Put it in the oven for 45 minutes at 150 degrees C. And there is a pumpkin meringue pie that's patently perfect for parties.
This is BBC Radio Devon.
The Met Office has issued a flash warning of severe weather for Devon this afternoon. Heavy rain combined with winds of up to 80 miles an hour are expected. Structural damage is likely.
The weather is ridiculous. They're saying that the worst storm for 10 years is on its way. And we're having a party. 200 people are coming, and there's no way we're going to let them down. Hello, how are you? Hey, great to see you. So we've knocked up a hot shot cocktail, homemade chilli lemonade with a tot of white rum. It's our welcoming winter warmer. If the rum doesn't get you, the chilli will. It's soon clear that the rain's not dampening anyone's party spirits, and the guests are joining in all our suitably themed fun and games. There's even a brave queue for our chili roulette.
It looks big, it looks big. It's red, it's dangerous. It's in there.
Oh, jeez!
I've popped into the kitchen to add the final touch to our feast of all things red and orange. This is definitely the cosiest place to be at the moment. A dish of roasted squash with rosemary, garlic, and guess what? A smidge of chilli. After half an hour in a fierce oven, we're serving our roasted squash alongside the chilli shin of beef and noodles and our pumpkin and chilli cornbread. Would you like a little bit of roast squash?
Oh, that's fantastic.
All with Pam's peppy pumpkin pickles on the side.
Thank you very much.
Yes, really nice.
And for Pud, my pumpkin meringue pie.
Yeah, that looks absolutely lovely.
Everyone's getting into the pumpkin and chilli mood. Almost everyone. I'm determined to push my chilli experience to the limit. So it's time to dive into the deep end with my old friend Michael Michaud, whose Dorset Naga is possibly the world's hottest chilli. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god. Oh. The tip of my tongue is on fire.
Okay. And which part of
fire? When you are suffering as the result of eating a too hot chili, what is the best way of dealing with it?
dairy products?
Have you got any?
No.
On you, like now?
No, it's
No?
that bad.
I'm going to have to go and get some.
All right.
Somehow wild weather, hot chilies and homegrown pumpkins are starting to feel like perfect bedfellows. Blimey! My God, that was an insane amount. Have the croupiers spun the wheel for themselves? Don't you think they should have a go, everyone? Yes! Go on. Hey!
I've always liked you.
If you want to know more about any of the recipes or stories in the show, log on to www.channel4.com/food. We've been lashed by the wind and the rain, but we've been cooking up a storm, and the warmth of the chili and the plumpness of the pumpkin has kept us going all evening. Next time, I protect and serve my veg patch with some cunning crop rotation to replenish the nourishment for next season's growth. We devise some delicious edible presents for a crunchy Credit Crunch Christmas. And lay down some of my beef for the winter store cupboard. Is this more biltong or ding dong?
Every night awake. Cutting Edge, Jess, Britain's youngest sleepwalker, next.
Who's next? Seems to have risen nicely. I think it's going to stick. Yes, stuck like an absolute